Hello YouTube, this is Morgan Airspeed Prime here at my next Sword Art Online alternative Gale Online anime review. This one's going to be for episode 9, which is called 10-Minute Massacre. And yeah, I thought this was a pretty good episode. They're definitely taking the approach in this second Squad Jam of basically having each episode be devoted to basically 2, sometimes 3 sequences basically, and that being most of the episode. So the episodes don't feel like overly packed where like there's tons of stuff to analyze, and that it is just basically this episode 2 action sequences and then 1 more character scene. And what we get here is the execution of the plan of Team PM4, Pito Hui and M, to take out the 6 or 7 squads that have teamed up against them. And they more or less established that, okay, the leaders of these teams are separate, and then the rest of their squads are actually moving in on their position. And the plan, we don't get it explained to us like incredibly well, but it seems to be that M basically hides in this cave behind a waterfall, puts up his shield and like acts like the whole team is in there. While Pito Hui primarily goes down on her own to take out basically everyone, with minor support from the other 4 who are actually really solid players, but there doesn't seem to be anything particularly special about them. They are just there to be very solid backup to basically allow Pito Hui to play her really aggressive style where she's really out there but really amazing, just to solidify her to be able to do that. And they just completely massacre all of these teams. Pito Hui really shows how impressive she is here, because she does a lot of hand-to-hand combat and takes people out, like kills them very quickly with it. Like she just slams one guy's head against a rock, he's out. I think she like takes his gun, takes out a couple of people, switches to the next guy she takes out's gun, because she uses a bunch of different weapons over the course of this sequence, in that it doesn't really seem like she's using a lot of her own equipment. And then later on they confirm that she has this other sniper rifle that's on the same style as Xenon's Hecate sniper rifle, but I think a different make, but the same idea, that it's like a anti-materiel weapon, in that it's just this amazing sniper rifle. So that was cool to see that, like, okay, her main weapon that she's brought in is this, and then I assume she'll probably have some sort of an extra weapon that will be primarily how she fights Len when it comes down to it, but we'll have to see exactly how that happens. I thought they animated her sequences well by showing that just she's very fluid in how she kind of moves, how easily she switches from weapon to weapon. Like she goes from using like a machine gun to like a shotgun. She's throwing grenades. She's using hand-to-hand combat. They're presenting her as being one of the best players that we've ever seen, with the one caveat being that her style means she's like super aggressive and, you know, good tactically, but has maybe a tendency to go too hard in maybe, and that could get her into a bit of trouble. In that I think they leave her open enough where Len could tactically find some way to beat her, I think is kind of what they suggest. But with the backup from M, who's very calculating and composed and doesn't want to be too risky. Like it works that the 2 leaders of that team are the most aggressive player and the most cautious player, and then they have 4 very solid backups. So that team seems like more or less perfect right now. How is Len and Fukuzero going to get through all of them? But that'll be for towards the end of the season. So I thought that was well done. They obviously switched to her sniping the other team members. They demonstrate like she's also a bit cruel. Like there's 2 guys holding on to each other. One guy's about to fall, and she just kind of tortures him. She has a pistol, and she's just kind of like, you know, how long can you hold on? And she gradually shoots him. She runs out of ammo, and eventually just eventually they die, and she moves on. But just getting across how cruel she is. She's an amazing sniper as well, so she's not just this character who can only do like close combat and stuff like that. She is technically proficient at everything, basically. In that establishing that she can snipe just as well as anyone, and other characters comparing her to Xenon, was a pretty big thing to just get across, that that's how good she is at the game. That you don't expect her to be a sniper, but she actually is. So that's just a cool setup, that that team just seems unstoppable right now, and you don't know how just a team of two will take out Pito Hui and the whole team. The second sequence is catching up with Len and Fukuzero as they're going through the dome area, which just seems to be this kind of farmland, basically just a lot of grass, a lot of trees, and they're kind of going undercover. They're using bullet lines to kind of keep their direction because the terrain looks all the same. And Len's obviously guiding them because she's more used to navigating in the game. And they basically just established that, they think the other three teams are working against them in this kind of arena, so they're very cautious. And they go from just basically traveling through to having to actually deal with these three teams. And I love the way they deal with them, in that they end up getting spotted, and immediately they have to execute this kind of plan, which is their ultimate plan to take out Pito Hui, but they have to use now. And it's basically Fukuzero switches from using grenades to using pink smoke bombs, and this basically masks completely Len's presence because she wears all pink in the pink smoke. And then she tracks down people by basically following bullet lines, because she's quick enough to dodge any random spray that they fire out, but can use the bullet line to trace where they originally are. And she just goes like crazy on all of these people in the smoke, taking everyone out. Very clever plan. Like, you get the sense that this would have probably challenged Pito Hui a lot. I think the idea though would be that Pito Hui probably wouldn't have used bullet lines, knowing that would be a way to track her down. So it would have probably been a surprise, but it may not have finished the job. So she has to come up with a better plan to take out Pito Hui when they actually do meet up. Other than that, you see Fukuzero bashes someone to death with her with the guy's like rifle, because they continue to establish that she is useless with any other sort of weapon. She fires from point blank range with a fully loaded pistol, misses every shot, and uses her, I suppose, broadsword skills playing ALO to finish the job. And I like that they cut out, and everyone is actually impressed with that this is something that you can bring from other games, like a bigger tendency on up close combat with kind of weapons like that. That's what like Kirito was so impressive with the energy sword thing, the laser sword, in his arc from SAO. So that was fairly cool to see. And then the last sequence is a kind of bit of a weird one, that like, wow, what was this about? But it adds a little bit of personality, character to what's going on here. They find basically the last surviving member of these three teams, and they initially think it's this kind of weird guy, but the way the character's drawn, you can sort of tell, like, okay, there's something more going on here. The voice doesn't seem completely like a guy, but you don't really know. And the character's acting all creepy, and you think it's like all the other characters where they meet a team with two cute girls on it and they immediately kind of go all pervert on them. And it's the same as happening here. The difference is that it's revealed that this character has a lot of magazines that would work in Len's weapon. So she immediately wants to not just kill this person to get rid of all the threats, but wants to make sure that before this person resigns, that they get all of their ammo. Because the one thing that Len was worried about in the previous sequence, even though she took everyone out with no problem, was that she used up too much of her ammo. I think she more or less said she went down from about 700 and then down to 500. And because she uses like a submachine gun, like she's probably using like a whole 100 ammo anytime she uses the full magazine. So that explains like that she's kind of halfway through her magazine stockpile, but now she seems to have as much as she could ever possibly need in this case. But the agreement is made that the magazines will be handed over only if Len kisses this character on the cheek. She does this, doing the kind of the agreement that was made, and then the character reveals that they're actually a woman, but they also say that, like, oh, in real life I like guys and girls, so just, casual, like, bisexual reveal in this show. Not something you expected, but just a little something, like, and they kind of say, like, I'd actually like to meet up in real life because there's not many girls in GGO, so I don't know if we'll ever see that. Maybe the setup is good enough that, like, they devoted a good, like, 5 minutes of the episode to this character that they might meet up in real life and actually get on, but we'll wait and see on that. I think it could be a fun little scene if they do meet this character in real life as well. But the end of the episode is just that it's revealed that there is a new team on the scene, and that is Team MMTM, which I believe is Memento Mori. I think that makes sense. Memento Mori, yeah. I think that's it. And he was obviously set up as being like a kind of veteran player, one of the best kind of players, excellent kind of team leader, and they're spotted. How are they going to get out of this situation in that they've mainly got flat ground with a couple of trees, and they're up against I wouldn't quite say sniper, but like long range guy, and then his whole team is still there as well. So we didn't get to see any of the gymnastics club team in this episode, so they could come in. But based on the name of the next episode, it seems like they're gonna basically get like outmaneuvered, but then they're probably gonna have like a big comeback tactic. And so that'll be fun to see how they do that. And that, like, we've only got a couple of episodes left. It's like 12, I think, in the season, or 13. So there's only 3 or 4 to go. So they have to, they still have to do, I think, a lot of stuff after the tournament. So we've realistically only got 2 or 3 episodes of the tournament left. With the last episode, I assume they have to devote a good part of the last episode, if not a whole episode, to being like an epilogue after the tournament resolution, characters meeting in real life, and the character stuff coming out. Because while the action is great, the action is happening because of the plot and the characters, and that's what we're kind of here about. Len's so intense. She's going 110% in this tournament because Peter Wee's life is at risk because of her own making, and she wants to stop that, meet her in real life, and help her through this, like what's going on. So there's that, and otherwise I thought it's a solid episode. I'm not sure if the last couple of episodes have been the greatest episodes ever, but it's definitely a fun action scene. The tournament dynamic, the different tactics that they're using, it's very, very entertaining overall. But there's not a ton to talk about just yet, because we haven't got to the big setup moments that we're really waiting for. That being the Peter Wee thing is really what we're waiting for. Len versus Peter Wee, and then to see how Fuka Zero kind of plays into this at some point. But yeah, that's been the video. Thanks for watching, and bye.